What's up? Brandon Lilly here. Going to be jumping right into the question. The first one comes from Mark. He says, how important is nutrition for a top-level powerlifter, and what is your current nutrition like? My current nutrition is the Mountain Dog Diet from John Meadows. He's a guy that I really looked up to because I've seen him train. He's in extremely, extremely good condition. I mean, he's bodybuilding conditioned, and he's very, very strong. So it was important for me to talk to him because he has an understanding of the balance. And as a powerlifter, I want to look good, but I also care about performance first. So when I talked to him and I expressed that to him, he was eager to jump in and give it a run, and it's been nothing but good for me. I mean, every single cycle that we've run, I've gotten not only leaner, as in I can tell a difference clearly in my body fat, but I've also added good weight. My muscles gotten bigger, and I've gotten stronger every time. So, the Mountain Dog Diet works for me. I believe in it. I sing its praises all the time. The other thing that I want you to realize is your human body is what's doing the majority of the lifting, whether you're geared or raw. So the better functioning that your body is, the better you're going to perform. And a lot of guys don't realize that, but I was talking to one of the coaches over in Australia, and one of the things that he impressed upon me was if you put good food into your body works better, which makes your supplements work better, which make your drugs work better, and on and on and on. Every body function gets better because of the nutrition that you put into it. So if you're sitting there and you're eating Taco Bell 3 or 4 times a day, and don't get me wrong, I've done it. We've all done it. We've all bought into the idea that just get big, eat whatever you can. It's fun to be a powerlifter because there's no discipline to it. Well, for me, the more disciplined I've become with my diet and my training and so on, the better I've become. So really, to me, nutrition is crucially important, especially if you want to get to the next level, especially if your lifts have stalled out for a while, if you're doing all the things right in the gym, if you're doing all the things right as supplementation. If you're not getting your nutrition down pat, you're really going to struggle. So start making changes there, and I guarantee the results will come. Next question. How important is the floor press for a geared bencher? Well, I always loved floor presses. I always thought they were just they were great, and I built a pretty good bench around floor presses. I benched 832 in a shirt, and as I came back to the raw side, I continued using them primarily, as a secondary movement because I do feel like they help your lockout a lot. And for a geared bencher, it just takes the stress off of having something go to your chest all the time. It's a nice movement to have to where you can lock out and build that tricep strength. But you've got to understand how to use them correctly. So many guys I'll see, they'll stay tight, and as soon as their tricep touches, and if you've got a big tricep that's going to be early, they reverse it. What you want to do is you want to come all the way down on the meat of the triceps and relax them to the point that if your tricep was flat, your elbow would touch the ground. You want to have complete release and then press. That teaches your triceps to fire through the hardest part of the motion, which is the middle, the middle portion up to the lockout. And I always try to do more reps, 2s, 3s, 5s, things like that with the floor press rather than the max singles. Just because I felt like the max singles on these movements don't necessarily always carry over truly to the single max in your discipline, whether that's raw or in a shirted bench. So my goal was to build those muscles, and you're not going to build those muscles necessarily with singles, and really not even with doubles. I think with triples, 5s, 6s, things like that is where you're going to get the muscular development, and that's really what you're trying to do with any kind of accessory exercise is build the muscle, eliminate a weakness, and then achieve peak performance on your competition movement. So I always like floor presses as a secondary movement, and this is how I coach people with it now. I did do it a long time as a main movement when I was at Westside, and even after I left Westside, we did it a lot as a main movement. And in the first round of the cube cycle, that was one of my staples. And that was because I hadn't tried different things. It was one of the things that I knew worked for me. But as I've tried more things, and I've kept the competition lift as my first movement, and then applied the floor press or something along those lines as a secondary movement, the benefits have even been better. So realize what it is. Realize what these specialty bars are. Realize what specialty movements like that are. They're a complementary accessory to the main movement. And I was a guy that at one point actually became a better floor presser than I was a bench presser. And that's not the way you want to do it. You want the floor press to complement the bench press so you become a better bench presser. And, keep in mind, everybody's a little different. I'm just sharing my opinion on the movement, but I think everybody can benefit from it if they use it properly. Last question. How do I build power out of the hole if I want to use a box? Well, what you've got to understand is I don't hate the box, okay, for squats. What I hate is how people misuse the box. They'll use the box as a comfort. They'll use the box as a safety net. And so many times they use the box improperly. I was a person who really, really struggled with the box. And maybe, that may be one of the reasons why I shied away from it so fast. But anyway, if you're wanting to use the box correctly, number one, use it to set your depth below parallel. It's a great indicator of where depth is, but you have to be honest with yourself. If you're going to set the box at parallel or a little above parallel, which can be fine, if you're coming back from an injury or something, but if you're using it as a training tool, it needs to be set below parallel. That way, your hips and your legs will be in a position that they will be in competition, or they should be in competition. You should always break parallel. Now, understanding that for a raw lifter, you're not going to be able to have the extreme sit-back position like so many geared lifters are coached. If you sit back like that without the box there, you're going to fall on your ass. I do agree with if you're using the box to sit back a little bit more, but primarily you want to use the box as a guide for where depth is and not much more. I mean, for raw lifters that insist on using the box, I encourage them to use it just as a feel. Go down, kind of like the floor press I was talking about. Go down, sit on it for a second, release the muscles, and come up. Don't try to change your form to accommodate the box. Keep your form the same. Use the box as a tool and stand up off of it. I think if you implement it properly, you're squatting below parallel, you're releasing the muscles in the right way, and you're refiring them. I think you can build the whole power as a raw lifter. Do I think that squatting on the box is more preferred for a raw lifter? I just don't see that. But I think as a teaching tool, especially, like I said, someone coming back from an injury or a beginning lifter that's learning to squat, I think it can be a great learning mechanism. But as you advance and as you get up in weight, maybe for an overload here and there, you might want to use the box. But I think overall, as a raw lifter, you should do the vast majority of your lifts without a box. So you learn the feel, you learn the depth, because your body changes in the bottom. When you go down, your butt might tuck under, which might cause you to lean a little bit. Your butt might stay back, which causes you to lean a little bit that way. So what you need to do is you need to understand what your body does in the bottom, and that box will prevent some of those things from happening. So, train primarily without it. Use it as a tool when it's needed, and good luck. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.